We're continuing with Hilchot De'ot, and a very interesting, almost I would say counterintuitive law is the following. When a Chacham, Talmid Chacham, a religious Jew who follows the Torah, by religious Jew I mean one who follows the Torah, when he conducts himself in business, there is a general idea out there that says, well, if you're religious and you're doing business, you can make certain allowances for yourself, right? So, and unfortunately, sometimes some people who appear to be religious, at least in the way they dress, they do make some allowances for themselves, right?
You would think it's the exact opposite. What do you mean? I'm confused.
Well, yes, you would think. But, so I remember I worked in a law firm in Israel for many years, and unfortunately, also among people who dress in a religious fashion, there is sometimes dishonest behavior, or sometimes unethical behavior, or sometimes outright lying and cheating. And there's too much of that, actually. I would say there's too much of that. And that's against the halakha. So I want to read to you what the halakha says about this matter. So here goes. We're studying Hilchot De'ot, you remember? So when a person who represents religion, he's a religious individual, he has the outward trappings of religion. So how do we see, how does the religious ethos manifest itself? So you say, oh, this person is so religious that if a little girl walks into the room, he covers his face, it's too much to bear, it's just too much to take. Okay. Another thing, this person is so religious that if you give him, kosher water, he's not going to have it. He says, no, it's just not kosher enough. I only have the water of Rabbi Mendelssohn. Oh, that's really religious.
Aluminum foil.
What? But what's interesting is that from the perspective of Judaism, the way a person's religious ethos should manifest itself is in the way he conducts business. Isn't that interesting? So let's read what it says. A person who represents Judaism, who represents Torah, is a person who in business acts truthfully and with integrity. Omer alav, lav. If he says the answer is no, it's no. If he says the answer is yes, the answer is yes. So for example, can you supply me with 100 handkerchiefs by next week, by Monday next week? Can it be in my warehouse Monday next week? I need 100. Yes, absolutely. And the guy knows there's no way it's happening, but he just wants the deal. He wants the guy to make the order. He knows the order is going to be at least a week late, 2 weeks late, 3 weeks late, whatever it is. But he wants the business. So he's going to tell me, yes, of course, absolutely, no problem. It'll be there next week. So that's dishonest. That's not the way a Talmid Chacham should act. But in other words, if you're a person who represents religion, you would not act like that because you have to hold yourself to a proper standard of conduct, right? And if you can't do something, you say, I can't do it. I can't have it, so I can't have it next week, right? Medakdek, so that's number one. So when he says a word, the word he utters from his mouth is a word that represents truth. Medakdek alasmo, b'cheshbon. Furthermore, when it comes time to pay something, he's very careful to make sure to be precise in the way he represents the bill. So he's not going to over fluff the bill with new things, right? Medakdek alasmo b'cheshbon. Venoten umvater la'acharim. And furthermore, if he has to give in to other individuals, he doesn't. He's tough on himself, but he's less tough on other individuals, right? So he'll be a little more forgiving for somebody else, right? When it comes time for them to pay him, if there's a mistake, $1 here, $1 there, he's not going to be medakdek. A lot of times, a person goes to, I'm just telling you the way I act, I don't know. I could go to a restaurant to make a mistake, and people feel good when there's a mistake. They feel good when the mistake is in their favor, right? So it's not something to feel good about, but because God forbid, If you took something from someone, even though the person made a mistake and he undercharged you, that's still a type of gezer, right? So we don't want to make mistakes that favor us. I'd rather have a mistake the other way than this way, right? Because when it's a mistake this way, but it could be it could be damaging, right? So that's why the Tamil Chacham is very careful to be precise and not to overcharge. But if there's a slight mistake against him, okay, you know what? I'll let it go. You understand the psychology, right? Like I'll give you an example. If I said the pizza bar minan has sausage, oh my gosh, what did you just say? Of course, obviously we don't want to eat non-kosher pizza, and if it has sausages, it's sur d'oraita, right? So I'm like, yes, correct. What? No, it's not. No, not patel. If it's not patel. So the thing is now the thing that it's like, so the same way you wouldn't want to eat non-kosher sausages, you would I don't want money that's not mine. It's literally like that. But you understand the idea? Nobody thinks of it like that. Everybody's like, oh wow, So I've seen these things, unfortunately.
Yeah, but what if you wait and the guy already gave up his care, right?
What do you mean? But what's hefker? If you if you got money that you weren't supposed to get, you should. It's a good idea to return it. It's better not to have that money. See what I'm saying? Meaning, if you're doing business with someone and he makes a mistake, and the mistake favors you, that's not a good. You don't want that money. You don't want that money.
It's not fine to keep business.
Right. You're talking about something else. You're talking about a situation. Well, let's say I found something in the street, and there's no.
Drop it.
Oh, listen. If you can catch him, if it was me, I prefer to get the misvah. And when somebody came to me,
step on it,
when somebody came to me in Israel, he found some money in a phone number, like a wallet of somebody. His son found it. His son was 10 years old, and I told him you have to return it. And he was like, no. He said, the money is mine. I said, well, the Torah says, right, but the Torah says you have to return it because it's not. So I finally told him, what do you want? You want the money that doesn't belong to you? Or you want the mitzvah that the Torah is going to give you a mitzvah for Hashavat Avedah? I would take the mitzvah any day, right? First, I'm just giving you my own personal opinion. So that's the attitude. You get the attitude of what it means to be religious in Judaism. And when it comes time to pay, you pay immediately. You don't string them along. Anybody here do business with Walgreens? So they have these crazy payment terms. Normal invoice payment terms, 30 days, some of them have 45 days. So I speak to people who do business with some of the large box retailers that have crazy payment terms, 90 days or something. You're literally, you're starved for the money, but they know they can get away with it because everybody wants to do business with the large box retailer, right? So that the Tamil Chacham wouldn't do that. That's taking advantage of, if I got the goods, I should pay for the goods. So if it's 30-day payment terms, I should pay within 30 days. The guy shouldn't be calling me, did you pay? Yeah, it's coming. I know I can string him along. I know he doesn't want to break the relationship because I'm buying stuff and he selling me stuff. So I'm going to take advantage and keep paying late or, argue. I'm doing it not because I believe that he doesn't, I'm doing that not because I don't believe he deserves the money. I'm doing it because I can string him along. So I'm taking advantage. So the Chacham, Tamil Chacham, is not like that. Noten demea mekach le'altar.
But sometimes it's the cost of doing business.
It could be, but be specific.
The business that I'm in, I buy cash, I pay in cash, I sell cash. I don't give credit. I'm working on very small margins.
So that's perfect. So what's wrong with that?
I'm saying, but if somebody gives us credit,
yeah.
Okay, you know what? You use your money. It's like
if they're giving you credit, there's nothing wrong with taking credit.
Right, but okay.
We didn't say there's nothing wrong with that.
Pay them in 10 days. Nothing's gonna happen.
Okay, there's certain. Okay, let's put it this way. There's what's called in the Gemara minhag medina. If that's a custom, that's okay. We're not dealing with that. We're dealing with a situation where the person should have been paid according to the standards within the industry, because every industry has its own standards, right? So you say you deal with okay. You deal one way. Other people have other standards. So everybody has their own standard. Now, I know that in this industry, whatever it is, I'm supposed to pay. I got the invoice, 45-day payment terms. I have to pay them in 45 days. And if in the industry, people, they pay within 45 days. Now I'm saying I'm going to take advantage of the guy because I know he's desperate for the money.
Yeah, but it's 45 days. Some people say, okay, when they receive it. No, it's 45 days when you buy the invoice. But the guy's in California, he's receiving it in 5 days from now.
Email. So you just email the invoice. What's the issue? Right? Email it. But the point, I understand. Listen, I get that there could be, but you're talking about a technical issue.
The worst thing is.
What's the date? Is it net 30 days? Right? Is it 30 days plus? I get it. I'm not dealing with that. I'm dealing with a situation where the guy knows, I know, that he's waiting for my money. I'm going to take advantage. You know what? Can you just give me a 5% discount? I'm already like the guy's waiting. I was supposed to pay 30 days. It's already 60 days. The guy's like, he needs the money. And I was like, I have an idea. How about just give me a 5% discount? I'll pay the money immediately.
And it's already 90 days.
Right. And a few days later, I'm like, what was the discount again? Wait, it was a 10% discount, right? I just forgot. 5%? I can't do that. Right? You're talking about standard practice. Standard practice, Jewish law recognizes standard practice, just so you know. But this isn't that. This guy's taking advantage. So your Tamir Chacham, you shouldn't do that. Tamir Chacham should not act like that, right? So you see how the Torah holds the Tamir Chacham to a certain standard. Another good advice, never become a guarantor. So Reuven borrows money from Shimon. Shimon lends him the money on condition that you become the guarantor for Reuven's repayment of the loan, because then you can be in a very unpleasant situation. So don't become an arev. It's advice for Tamir Chacham and for anybody who understands this, that it's an unhealthy situation. Another thing is, so let's say I'm owed $1,000. So Reuven owes me $1,000. No, let's say Reuven owes you $1,000. So you come to me and you say, Rabbi, Reuven owes me $1,000. I'm just going to trying to chase after him. How about I sell you the debt? You go out, you come after him, right? That's called harsha'a in Jewish law. Tamir Chacham shouldn't do this. And I'm going to call up the guy and like,
If he buys the debt, someone else's debt.
That's the case?
Okay, let's say somebody owes you $1,000, and you can't collect it. You don't have the time. You come to me, Rabbi, do me a favor. I'm going to sell you my debt. What are you going to sell it for? Sell it to me for $900.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to buy the debt for $900. I think it's called a factor, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that what a factor is?
A collection agent.
Yeah, I know that a lot of the yeshivas, they do factors. Okay, anyway, so collection agent, but let's say let's call it a factor, because a collection agency is.
A factor is if you're giving somebody credit, and you don't want to take the credit, you go to a bank or a factor. The factor pays you the same day, but they take a percentage, and they're gonna collect the money.
Exactly. That's what this is talking about. Yeah. That's what this is talking about. Exactly right. So I'm going to collect. So Mikey got his $900 for me. Instead of getting $1,000, I'm giving him $900. I'm not going to go collect the money. I have a big.
That?
What? Tamir Chacham. It's saying a Tamir Chacham should not do that. It's not that it's not allowed. We didn't say it's not allowed.
You're not Tamir Chacham.
Now. So I'm like, you owe the money now to me. And I walk by your house with a baseball bat, and I'm like, so how you doing, Albert? What's going on, man? But I got Mikey's. You owe me the money. Don't worry about Mikey.
But
He's
the
good.
reason there's a discount is not that you're taking advantage of him, it's that there's a risk that you're not going to collect. You're taking a credit risk because most of the accounts you're going to collect from 9 out of 10 of them. One guy's going to be that being never paid.
And not to mention that I'm like in a situation now where, on the one hand, I'm a Tamir Chacham or a rabbi or whatever, and on the other hand, I'm going to start putting pressure on people to pay me. It's not not a good thing. But you don't want to be in that situation. I'm just telling you that it's not a healthy spiritual situation to be in, right?
Okay, what about if the rabbi gives it over to somebody else? Is that you be the bad guy?
Yeah, but why be there in the first place? Just
No, I'm saying he's not the one collecting the rabbi. He's giving this you. I don't have the time in the head. I got to study.
What did I give it? Listen, I carry around the big baseball bat. Okay, now I'm going to give it to Antonio, who carries around a bigger baseball bat. I'm a Sadiq. I'm not doing this. I can't do this. This big guy. And he'll use it. I won't use the baseball bat, but he will. And I just sold the debt to him, and now he's going to come after whoever.
The question is,
there's no benefit to reselling.
Is it an issue that the business itself is sort of not a clean business, or is it the fact that
Yeah.
it's not respectful for the rabbi to go around making people?
Right.
they get paid.
Right, so the issue is that the Torah looks down at Oshek. And one of the ideas of Oshek is when I put pressure on someone to pay me, he can't pay me, but I put pressure on him and I'm like squeezing, I mean,
If it's a school, yeshiva, someone has to collect the tuition. You're calling the people and calling people to go and collect tuition for the school. People
Right.
are paying
Look.
payments.
Tamir Chacham shouldn't be in that situation. That's what I'm saying.
It shouldn't be-
I get it. I'm not. Listen, I know there's businesses, but I represent the company, whatever, lawyer. And yeah, sometimes people don't pay, and we have to go to court. We have to do. But a Tamir Chacham shouldn't be in the business of collecting debt. See what I'm saying? It doesn't. It's not nice.
Donations, okay.
Donations. Yeah.
All the yeshiva is always, the head rabbi of the school is going around, fundraising.
All right, a fundraising. So that's nothing wrong with fundraising.
Right, that's not.
Well, no, fundraising, because fundraising is from the goodness of your heart, right? So it's not like the same. You understand the idea of, I just use the baseball bat as an,
You're squeezing someone who's having a hard time to pay.
exactly, yes, that's the point. So you don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to be squeezing somebody. Listen, it could be that the person is just a scoundrel. I mean, I've seen other situations where the guy calls bankruptcy and he goes on to Tahiti with his wife and children, and he's like, he just filed for Chapter 11. I get it, but just as a rabbi, as a Tamir Chacham, you don't want to be the one who's holding, who owns the debt, and now you're going to be collecting it potentially from people who just can't pay. There might be people who just don't want to pay in their low lives and they're not paying their debt. That's not a good thing either. But as a Tamir Chacham, you don't want to be in that. Don't be in that world. You know what I'm saying? Don't be in that world. Be in a different world. All right.
They file Chapter 11.
I'm sorry?
They file Chapter 11 and then they buy back their own business through shell companies. That's what they do.
Yes. Yeah. Nice. Okay. I once had a client who, the guy that owed him the money was in Aspen, and he called him from Aspen to let him know that he's filing for bankruptcy. Okay, whatever. All right. So it goes both ways. I recognize that there's bad things on both sides. And by the way, if you were doing business with somebody, you would want to do business with Tamir Chacham, who you know is going to pay you, and is not going to string you along. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just. All right. Furthermore, the Chacham is going to be very careful not to take upon himself obligations that he can't meet. Because if he takes upon himself these obligations, and he's not going to be able to fulfill the obligation, it's going to be a type of Hilul Hashem, right? Bar Minan. Right? So he has to be very careful when he does business to be a little more circumspect and not to overextend himself. And if the Tamir Chacham needs to sue somebody, he's allowed to. But if he sees that the person, and he wins, he goes to court and he wins, and just be a little more gentle. If the guy can't pay, maybe be a little more forgiving. Maybe make his debt as a loan, and he pays you back in a slow way. Again, Tamir Chacham should not be in a situation where he's chasing after people for money, and then it gives a ruthless appearance to his persona, right? So I know that, I don't know, you're in a particular business, you have a peanut store, and I just realized, wow, what a great business to be in. I'm going to open up a peanut store, I'm going to take the business away from you, and I'll take it towards me. I'm looking at the way you're doing business, I'm learning what you're doing, I see what you're doing, and I see there's a certain fault, I'm going to make things even better than you. I'll open up a competing store. Haram, it's not supposed to do that, right?
This is only Tamir Chacham?
Meaning,
In general.
look, in general, there is what's called lo tasig yevul le'acha. So let's say if I open the store in the same block as you, and I'm basically using the goodwill that you built for your business, and I'm siphoning that goodwill to now my store. That's asur for everybody. But here, I'm observing the way you're doing business. I didn't open the store in the same place, but I'm learning from your business, and now I'm going to take away your business. I'm opening the store in the same location, even somewhere else, but I know what I'm doing, right? So I'm doing it to siphon your customers. Now technically, there's no lo tasei because I'm not in the same area, but I'm causing damage to the person who's already in that business. Try to find something where you're not causing damage to somebody else, right? By the way, one of the things about American business, and one of the reasons
Jew to Jew or to Jew to anyone?
doesn't say. It says lo yered לתוך אומנות חברו. In general, Tamil Chacham should act ethically to everybody, right? Meaning, the halacha says that a Tamil Chacham shouldn't be one of the people that acts ruthlessly in business. Yeah, there are some ruthless businesses, and sometimes they serve a good function, but Tamil Chacham should not be in one of those businesses, right? Let's summarize the law of the Tamil Chacham. And again, what's important about this is that it gives you the true Jewish persona. So if you see a guy that pretends to be a big rabbi and he gets scared of little girls singing, but he's at the same time not honest in business, then you understand that there's something off here, right? So let's summarize. This person, he prefers to be those who are nirdav. Nirdav mean oppressed, so to speak. You're never going to oppress other people, right? If you had a choice, again, somebody made a mistake on my bill in his favor, I can tell him, okay, fine, don't have to tell him. But if they made a mistake in my favor, I definitely would tell him, right? Furthermore, Talmidei Chachamim, they're very careful not to hurt other people. And even if somebody hurts them, they're not going to hurt the person back. That's nekama, right? We don't do that. A person who conducts himself in business with integrity, with honesty, he speaks the truth, he doesn't act ruthlessly with others. There's a special pasuk about that person. This pasuk is from the Navi, and the pasuk says, I just lost the place. Whoa, let me find it again. The pasuk says, Vayomer lo abdi ata. Where is it? Here. Vayomer li abdi ata Yisrael asher becha et pa'am. God told me, Israel, you truly serve me, and I am proud that you are my servant. Abdi ata Yisrael asher becha et pa'am is talking about a person who acts with this type of integrity. This verse is actually from the book of Isaiah. Vayomer li avdi ata, I misread it, I'm going to read it again. Vayomer li avdi ata, Yisrael asher becha et pa'am. Okay, that's the end of the chapter. We're going to do the next chapter, and we're going to start the next chapter in a moment. But are there any questions first? Interesting, no?
Yep.
Very interesting. Okay. And it's important, really important to know these laws, important to know what the Torah expects of us, and what's considered, the real Hasidut of the Gemara was people who acted like this. This was, the original Hasidut was this, meaning people say, what's a Hasid? So again, the person is Mahmir, he won't have water unless it has a, OU on it, whatever. The real Hasidut was a person who was very careful not to hurt others, not to act in an oppressive way, not to hurt somebody's business, not to hurt somebody's finances. And even if the other person owed him money, the Hasidut was, okay, I'm going to let it go. That's Hasidut, right? That's the real Hasidut. Beautiful idea. Let's continue.
And it should be also the ideal for every Jew, because we're all obligated on the same.
Well, yeah, because we're all obligated to act with chokhmah. We're all obligated to act with integrity. But once a person reaches a level where he's represents the Torah, and you say, okay, so where can sometimes a person says, I want to do extra. This is the extra. This, here. So right, if somebody underpaid me, I have every right to go to him. No, I can take him to court, and I want him to pay me, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's 100% allowed, and I take him, and he pays me, end the story. That's good. But the person, I want to do extra. I want to be a Hasid. That's where the Hasidut comes in. The Hasidut comes in when you have a certain humility, and you're willing to forgive others, even if they're wrong, and you don't come after every single person and every single individual. Let it go. See what a Hasid is?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's continue now to the next section. And the next section is interesting. The next section deals with the following topic. Where should a person live?
Where should a person
Live.
Manhattan Beach?
Manhattan Beach. Fada. Chabod. Mikey, let's find him. Let's find the Raymond that thinks here in Manhattan would love to have you as a neighbor. Chavod.
There you go.
We can help him. Okay.
Where
So-
does a person live?
Where's that person live? Whatever. So first let's build it, and then you'll see where I'm getting to.
Where or how?
Where? What type of area? What type of people? So to understand the answer to that question, we have to give a.
Question.
It depends if you ask him or his wife.
Not here's mother-in-law.
9 years mother-in-law.
Who is hurt? She wants to be with the woman.
That's what I'm saying, depends who you ask.
Okay.
It's our
Derech
question.
derech beriyato shel adam. Man, by his nature, liot nimshach b'deotav ma'asav ha'chalev ha'chaveram, is always going to be influenced by the people around them, by the friends, by the relatives. They can influence his thinking. They can influence his actions. Just as an example, it's a very stark example, but why do so many Democrat voters hate Donald Trump with a pathological intensity? Like, what's the reason? And the answer is because so many Democrat voters hate Donald Trump with a pathological intensity. Meaning, if your friends all hate Donald Trump with a pathological intensity, you will end up hating Donald Trump with a pathological intensity. It shows how the mind is always affected by the people who you're connected with emotionally. So if I'm connected with people who have Trump derangement syndrome, and I'm a Jew and I see he's helping Israel, yes, he's dealing with Hamas, yeah, he's getting the hostages back, yes, he's closing the border, yes, he's getting rid of government fraud and waste, yes, and I hate him. I just hate him. He's a Nazi. Why? So the answer is, it's very difficult. That's about it. It's a person thinks that he can think clearly and see things objectively, and the answer is, oftentimes we exist within a certain mental construct, and that mental construct is built by the people who we're friends with and who we associate with emotionally, right? So a good example of a person who was noheg minhag anshe medinato is Lot. Lot is the nephew of Avraham Avinu. Lot's father died. When his father died, Avraham Avinu basically took him under his wings. He taught him about Torah. Avraham Avinu taught Lot how to be a good person. And as long as Lot was with Avraham Avinu, he was basically good. Okay? Comes a day, he moves to Sodom Amorah. Later on, the Malachim come to his house, and the house is surrounded by a mob. And first of all, Lot remembers the idea of Achnasat Orchim. So he remembers Achnasat Orchim is very important. Okay, he learned that from Avraham Avinu. He said, that's great. You see, he wasn't affected by the people of Sodom Amorah. But they start banging on the door. And they say, give us the gas. And he said, I'm going to give you my daughters. You can do whatever you want to my daughters. Which basically meant, right, a mob assaulting, a few young ladies. I don't have to explain what that is about, right? How can that happen? Are you out of your mind? I mean, you're a student of Avraham Avinu, and you're thinking, I want to do Achnasat Orchim at the expense of a mob attacking my daughters. I'm going to give my daughters to the mob to do whatever they want to do to them. Did he lose his mind? You understand the question?
Yep.
So what happened?
He lost his mind.
He lost his mind. Exactly. He lived in Sodom Amorah. And when you live in Sodom Amorah, there's a certain mental construct, and you become emotionally close to people, and you become friendly. And when you become friendly with people, their ideas permeate your mind.
Is that why Noah was a tzaddik?
That's why Noah was alone. You remember the Chachamim they don't criticize him, but they kind of bring it. Noah didn't want to be attached to people. You remember? And when God told him that to build the Teva, the Chachamim criticized him. Why didn't you go to the people and tell them, I want to save your life? But that's what saved Noah's life, precisely because he was alone.
But that's also why it took 40 years to build. Because maybe they will repent.
Maybe they will repent. But you see, Noah was an introvert. And he wasn't emotionally connected with people. And because he wasn't emotionally connected with people, he was able to guard himself
from sinning or doing whatever they're doing.
And therefore he ended up being good.
And that's it.
But most people are not like that. Most people, we see people, we like people, we do business, whatever. We go to ball games, we play ball, we cards, I don't know, whatever. What do people do? We hang out. So you become close to the people, right? So you can't escape it. So Lot, he's Majnun. The guy's crazy. I mean, what I can't just say, take my daughters and do whatever you want to. At least say, take my daughters, but please don't hurt them. Whatever, I don't know. I mean, don't say do whatever you want. Okay. So therefore, when you live somewhere, I think what it's saying is when you live somewhere, you want to live in the community. I'm being really serious here. You want to live in the community. You're going to live somewhere else. Where are you going to live? You go to Arkansas? I don't know. Where are you going to live? You'll put a bunch of goyim. Okay, so there's a price to pay. I've heard stories about people who
There's a price to pay in the community too.
There is a price to pay because there are also some bad people in the community. I agree.
I'm talking about a price.
You're talking about. So so first of all, even in the community there are bad people. You want to associate with good people. You don't want to associate with bad people, even though you live in the community. You want to make sure to be with the people who go to communities, the people who have certain values, right? Especially family values, of course. Yeah, the price to pay is a financial one, of course. But then you see the kids who, I've seen, situations where they move out of the community and the kids are just screwed up. Horrible stories. Goyot, goyim, whatever, it's over, right? So there is a financial price, but that's what keeps us normal and Jewish, right? Normal, what's normal nowadays? Okay, right? Okay. So therefore, you want to be close to tzaddikim. You want to be close to good people. And you want to be a place where there are wise, intelligent Torah scholars. Because you're going to learn from these intelligent, wise Torah scholars from the Chachamim. That's very important. On the other hand, you also don't want to be associated with the Rishayim. If your friend is Mr. Boamier, it's going to affect you. And Bar Minan, if a person, takes poison, I'm sorry, God, that I took poison. I mean, I don't know, you took the poison. Why did you take the poison? I can't help you at this point. I mean, you took it, right? So a person takes poison and then he feels bad about it, right? So stay away from Rishayim. Because the worst thing is to learn from the actions of bad people. You don't want to be with bad people. Stay away from them. It's a disease. The same way if I told you, I just got bronchitis, I got pneumonia, bronchitis, COVID, I have the flu. You'll be like, staying away from me, Rabbi. You don't have to come to give the class. It's okay. Just stay home, right? So if somebody says, oh yeah, I'm a philanderer, I go, I do A, B, C, I go with women, I do this, I do that, I don't know, whatever. Stay away from him. It's a sickness. You don't want to catch his sicknesses, right? So just stay away.
Is that why Abraham left Lot? He said, you go your way, I go
No.
my way.
So in the case of Lot, what happened is that there was a fight between the shepherds of Lot and the shepherds of Abraham Avinu. So when Lot was with Abraham was influencing Lot and he was still a good person. But then they became so wealthy that there wasn't enough room for the sheep of the flocks of Abraham and Lot to be in the same area. So Abraham said, go to the other side of the Jordan River. Back then it wasn't what it is today. Today it's just a barren desert. Back then it was lush, Garden of Eden type place, right? All right. And this is a pasuk in the book of Mishleh where King Solomon gives the following advice. If a person makes himself subservient to the Chacham, meaning you're going to live, you have a choice. You can be in an area where there's Chachamim, where there's good people, they follow the Torah, they're wise or intelligent, but you're going to be maybe a little lower, hierarchically. Or the other choice is, you can be in a place of keserim, of wicked people, but you're going to be like a politician, a leader, an important person. He says, be with the Chachamim. Holech el Chachamim yachkav, because it's going to be therapy for your neshama. It's going to make your neshama healthy. Ve'ro'eh kesilim yirah, because if you go to the kesilim, you're going to end up becoming bad like them. As far as Avraham Avinu, you asked me the question before, the Chachamim say that God made Avraham Avinu a favor by getting him out of Ur Kasdim, because Ur Kasdim was the place of Avodah Zarah. And when you're in a place of Avodah Zarah, you're going to be affected by those people. The Chachamim say, you know what it's like? It's like a person, he enters a spice store, and they're selling all types of different perfumes and spices, and then when he leaves the store, he smells his clothing, beautiful, wow. He said, where were you? I was in a spice store, so I got this beautiful smell. So he says, when you're with Chachamim, you got the wisdom of the Chachamim, you got the Torah, and it affects you, and the opposite if you're with bad people. Dechem, yeah.
There's this saying, if you sleep with dogs, you get fleas.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You got the wrong people.
Correct. וכן אם היה במדינה שמנהגותיה רעים ואין אנשים הולכים בדרך ישרה, ילך למקום של הצדיקים ונוהגים בדרך טובים. If you're in a place where people are very decrepit, very degenerate, where people don't act properly, where they don't have values, you shouldn't be there. All right? Find a better place. Find a better place. And again, as Jews, we don't have a lot of choices. Of course, to live in Israel, tremendous zechut. Whoever can go there, can go there. It's nothing better. But outside Israel, there's tremendous danger. Tremendous danger, tremendous mashmaneh. So it's so important to be in a Jewish community where they have batei knesset, where they have synagogues, where they have Torah classes. And it affects things, it affects the whole area. The whole area becomes more livable, more beautiful. And then he says something very dramatic. He's dealing here with Yirmiyah Hanavi. So in the days of Yirmiyah Hanavi, there was a problem. The problem was Yirmiyah Hanavi lived in Jerusalem, in that area. He was originally from Anatol, but then he would come to Jerusalem, and then the northern Israel was destroyed, and then there was only southern Israel. So what happened is that in his days, everybody was doing Avodah Zarah. There was no Jewish community. Or rather, to put it in other words, the Jewish community itself was decrepit. So they were all doing Avodah Zarah, and he didn't know where to live. So where do you live in that case? So he says, let's say you're in a place where everybody is bad, and there is no good place to live. He says, in that case, Yeshev Badad Ve'idom. God tells Yirmiyah Hanavi, just be alone. Don't be with these people. You're going to be with these people, you're going to adopt their values. And even the loneliness is the worst thing. It's nothing more damaging than loneliness. But he tells Yirmiyah Hanavi, you can't be with people who are Avodah Zarah. So stay away from them, right? And this is what Yirmiyah Hanavi says, I only wish I can find a place alone in no man's land where I can sit down and relax and stay away from these bad people. Because what happened is, bad people don't like good people. And they were persecuting Yirmiyah Hanavi. He didn't want to leave, and they had started persecuting him because he was not Oved Avodah Zarah. And finally he said that he had enough. He said, I just want to be left alone. The people won't leave me alone. Right? So that's an important thing to understand. Bad people are never tolerant people, right? This is why you saw, like, when the woke were controlling America, there's a reason why they were doing drag shows in public schools and bringing all the craziness, because bad people want everybody to be bad like them, right? And Yirmiyah Hanavi realized that they're after him because he refused to do Avodah Zarah. And God told him he should just be alone. He says, yeah, I want to be alone. I want to find a place where I don't have to be bothered by these people. So anyway, I think we're blessed to be in a place as we are. I don't like Brooklyn. I don't think it's physically appealing. I don't think it's fun to look for parking. I don't think it's fun to drive here and all that stuff. But at the same time, thank God there's a lot of synagogues, there's a lot of Torah classes, there's mikvaot, and there's certain values, and there's a price to pay. But it's worth it.
It's a lot worse.
Well,
A lot worse.
yeah, exactly, a lot worse. But I mean, now you live in a place and you're completely desolate. So I know, like, a person who.
You could be stuck in Miami.
Miami is
It's a lot better too.
Surfside. Surfside. I was there just a few weeks ago. Wow. No, by the way, why not? There's nothing wrong with that. You know, they have synagogues there. They have everything. Yeah, I'm not against it.
Or San Francisco?
What's there?
Nothing.
San Francisco?
Oh, no. Yeah.
You don't
I don't know. Okay, I don't want to.
No.
All right.
Makes the dome look good.
Makes the dome up. Really?
It's bad, yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay, I've never been there, so. I was once in my life, I was in Las Vegas because it was like some business thing, whatever, some client. And yeah, I didn't like it. And I just felt so like.
Rabbi, shut the video.
Shut the video. No, it was very, I felt very, it just felt very desolate there. I felt this certain emptiness.
It's a desert.
Right? It's a desert, literally. Okay.